Hello and welcome to another episode of Frightfully Forgotten Horror Movies, and we've got a special Canada Day episode for you today. But before we get started, what are we drinking?
Today we're drinking the Polaris Express. It's a Polaris Smash.
Today we're going to bring to you 1977's Rabid.
Rabid is directed by Canadian movie legend David Cronenberg, who also did The Brood, which we covered. He did probably most notably The Fly. He did Dead Ringers and tons of other movies. He is just a master at his craft.
Marilyn Chambers is in this, and she was mostly known for porn. This was her first major feature. Frank Moore is in this. He did a lot of TV, and Joe Silver is in this too. He was in Shivers and Creepshow 2.
Rabid starts off with our two main characters here, Rose and Hart. Got the leather on, and they're about to hop on a motorcycle. And they hop on a motorcycle and take off on the highway. Family driving down the highway, and they're arguing about directions and all that kind of stuff. And it really shows the time period of the movie, because the kids are all standing up in the back and everything.
No seat belts, nothing. Nobody gives a shit.
I remember doing that.
Yep, I remember laying in the back window of the car.
And they start doing a big U-turn on the highway, but in the meantime, Rose and Hart are zooming down, and they're coming too quick and can't stop, so they go off into the ditch to avoid them, fly way up.
It's a super ramp that they all hit.
They hit the ground, and then boom, explodes, right? Just so happens nearby, there's like a plastic surgery clinic, and people from this clinic with binoculars can see the smoke coming, and they're like, oh geez, there's an accident. And they send an ambulance from the clinic to go pick up the survivors. They bring Rose and Hart to this plastic surgery clinic, and Hart just has like a broken arm or whatever, but Rose is like dying. She's bleeding internally. Dr. Kelloy, the head surgeon, says the city hospital is too far. She'll never make it. She'll bleed to death first, so we gotta perform surgery right here. Like, he's just a plastic surgeon. Like, to stop the bleeding, he does this experimental procedure involving morphogenesis. It looks like it's a success, but she's also in a coma at the same time. So Hart is good to go back to the city. He goes back to Montreal and leaves her at the clinic. Rose wakes up from the coma in the middle of the night and starts screaming, and a nearby patient, he's of course looking in the mirror, like his plastic surgery, and he hears her and goes to check on her. She's saying, well, I'm cold, hold me, and like grabs him. He's like, oh, this is kind of unusual, and something happens to him. He can't quite see it, but
it feels like he got a knife.
He starts bleeding. Some nurses later on find him in the elevator, like passed out, and he's all white. Upon examining him, they find this puncture wound underneath his armpit, and they figure maybe he actually tried to rape Rose, and she woke up and defended herself. They're not quite sure because she's catatonic. But she's not, and she actually gets up and escapes the clinic and goes to this barn. Cow laying there, and kind of goes to hug the cow, and you think she's going to do that thing to the cow, and she starts throwing up all this blood. Then the owner of the barn comes in, who's some drunk bum.
If he even is the owner, he's some vagabond or something.
And he just like automatically assumes that he's gonna get laid from this woman who's in the barn. He's like, oh, come here, baby.
Come on, honey pie.
Like, just because she's in the barn doesn't mean she's gonna fuck you. Like,
he's all disgusting too.
She kind of plays into it a little bit, eh? Like, oh yeah, yes. And something happens to him, but you don't quite see it.
Rose ends up heading back to the clinic. I guess she's had her fill in the barn there. She sees another patient that's in the clinic, and she's like relaxing in the hot tub, and she rushes the woman there, and you don't really see what happens though.
You see the blood in the water of the hot tub.
Yeah. Rose's first victim, he's out of the clinic now, and he takes a cab back into the city, and they show the guy, and he's rabid. He's literally rabid. He's all foaming at the mouth. And you just see the car from the outside. It kind of comes to a stop. That bum guy that was in the barn, he
The bum bar.
the bum barn guy rushes into this diner and he's like, well, he all orders like half a barbecue chicken. He starts eating this other guy's food. He's like, I gotta eat. The guy's like, never hit a guy with glasses before. He takes his glass off.
His eye's all missing, right?
Yeah.
What kind of restaurant is that? Looks like it's the size of someone's like fucking closet.
Yeah. Meanwhile, back at the clinic, Dr. Kelloyd is examining Rose. This little stinger kind of thing coming out of Rose's arm. And finally she just hugs him and you hear him screaming. Yeah! And then it's time for him to go to surgery too. So he's all like pale and sweating. While he's performing the surgery, he asks for scissors. And the nurse hands him the scissors and he starts to go crazy and he grabs her hand and just cuts her finger off with the scissors. And he just goes insane. We then see Hart and Dr. Kelloyd's business partner, Murray Cypher. They pull up to the clinic to a complete shit show. Talk to the chief of police or whoever's in charge of the scene. Tells them that Dr. Kelloyd went nuts and he attacked 2 of the cops. They're like, well, where's Dr. Kelloyd now? He's like, right here. And he goes into the back of this van, he looks in, and blah, like Kelloyd's crazy. He's completely rabid. They're also looking around for Rose, and nobody can find her, but there's one identified female that they end up finding in a freezer, which is actually the iconic shot of the cover of the movie. But it's not Rose. It turns out that Rose has escaped the clinic and she ended up hitchhiking with this truck driver trying to get back to Montreal, where she runs amok. And that's where we're gonna end the plot. So if you want to see what happens to Rose and the city of Montreal, keep watching Rabid.
But why should you watch Rabid? Well, it's a fantastic Canadian Cronenberg horror movie.
Yep.
It's kind of when you see that he's on the verge of greatness with this movie, I think. You see a lot of the brood in it, and you see a lot of the fly in it, right? You see those 2 next movies
Right.
kind of echoed in this movie.
And Shivers being his first movie, it was kind of like a springboard to this, right?
Yeah.
You can see that he learned a lot. And, like, you can see that Shivers is like a blueprint for this movie here.
Yeah, and it may not be the best Cronenberg movie, but it's damn good.
Yeah.
And I know because I've seen all of Cronenberg's movies.
Yes, I know. You went a little crazy there that one time. You even tried to get me in on it.
Let's watch Shivers one more time. You'll like it.
No! Don't give me that Cronenberg is king crap! I'm sick of watching Shivers! I told you! I don't want to watch it!
You're fucking drag, you know that?
Something went wrong, Adam, when you started binging the Cronenberg. Something went wrong.
You don't want to be part of the Canadian Horror Club? That's fine. I'll find someone to keep up with me.
Adam, you have to listen to me.
You're afraid to dive into the Cronenberg, aren't you? You're afraid to be destroyed by Canucksploitation. You think you turned me on to the Cronenberg, didn't you? But you only know Fangoria's reviews about the Cronenberg. You can't penetrate past Fangoria's grave fear of the Cronenberg. Watch deep, or watch not the Cronenberg. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just talking about body horror and gore. I'm talking about body horror beyond the veil of Cronenberg. A deep, penetrating dive into the Cronenberg. I've got $100 that says I can quote all your Cronenberg movies.
Take a hike, asshole.
And I get to take the fly home for the night if I win.
What, you want this?
It's your turn to go in. Come on, don't be afraid.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Jealous?
You're changing, Adam. Everything about you is changing. You look bad. You smell bad. I think it's all that time you've been spending binging those Cronenberg movies. I had them analyzed. They're bootlegs. You know how much time and money you've been spending on these? I think you're really sick.
You're jealous! I understand the Cronenberg. I own all of his movies. You can't stand it. You'll do anything to bring me down. Does it look sick to you? Does this look like a sick man? Ugh! Oh! I think I broke my hand. Can you take me to the hospital? Rabid is Cronenberg's take on a zombie movie, and it has both things. It's kind of a typical zombie movie, but it also has all those Cronenberg elements that make him a special filmmaker, right?
Yeah.
All those underlying themes that are in most of his movies are in this.
Yeah, and all the commentary that goes along with it. Like, there's a lot of commentary in this movie about vanity, and also, you know, with the plastic surgery thing, how it's almost addictive, because there's people that have been regulars coming back to the clinic, and they're just trying to fix what's on the surface, but there's obviously something deeper down that they're trying to get rid of that they can't.
There's themes of body modification, which are evident in most of Cronenberg's movies. Vanity and addiction. And something else you see in a lot of Cronenberg movies, too, is people being stripped of their humanity, right? They're being kind of boiled down to their animalistic nature.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in this with the rabid zombies. They're now just animalistic. They just want to feed and fuck, basically.
Yeah.
And that's a theme in a lot of Cronenberg movies.
And I like how he does that too, because he uses Marilyn Chambers' beauty to drive that home, right? It's like a dynamic between the two. She's very beautiful, but she's also deadly at the same time.
And not just her beauty, but also her past work plays into that too. It's like, that helps. The fact that she used to be kind of in the porn industry helps that point being put across, right?
That's right. Marilyn Chambers actually wasn't the first choice for the role. It was Sissy Spacek. It was her heavy Texas accent that had kind of held her back from the role. Ivan Reitman actually suggested Marilyn Chambers for the role.
And it's kind of neat that, like, Ivan Reitman at this point is kind of a nobody, right? But he ended up being, well, this big famous director who became a big boy in Hollywood. And you can see these guys kind of starting their foundations here in this movie. You got Ivan Reitman's involved. Well, David Cronenberg, of course, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat to see those roots starting.
I like how they're helping each other, too, not working against each other, right?
It's kind of neat how it comes full circle, because in this movie, you do see a Carrie poster on the street, and it's kind of like harking back to we originally wanted her for the role. Also kind of a nod to, this is the type of movie we want to make. We don't want to make some schlocky piece of shit Canadian movie. You know, we want to do something good like Carrie.
Yeah.
But she also goes to the porn theater too, which is kind of neat, because it also like, well, we're also borrowing from this style of movie as well. Movies you see in this movie, and that's a great Hollywood horror and a sleazy flick, and this movie is both.
You need a little bit of sex in these movies. All the time.
And this movie is highly sexualized, you know, like even the way that Rose feeds, right? She holds the person, and
there's that.
It's kind of sexual.
Yeah. I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
And, you know, the thing that comes out of her is very phallic, you know, and it's coming out of something that looks like a vagina. That's all on purpose. Cronenberg knew what he was doing, was intentionally making a sexy movie.
Right. The movie being called Rabid, it could be sort of seen as an STD, right? Mirroring an STD spreading.
Yeah. Funny you say that, too, because a lot of people thought that The Fly was a commentary on AIDS. Wasn't. Like, Cronenberg said, nah, that wasn't really a commentary on AIDS, but people thought it was. I think this is more so that than The Fly was.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting, too, for how it parallels what happened later, just a few years ago, with COVID.
And predicts some things, too.
Setting up quarantines, and then you have to have your quarantine card.
The vaccine card?
Yeah.
In this movie, people need vaccine cards.
That's right.
I'm like, fucking COVID flashback, right? Like,
exactly.
You can't come in without your vaccine card. I'm like, holy shit, I lived through that.
In this movie, it's a hell of a lot more warranted, though, right? It's like, there's fucking, like, zombies running the streets.
Killing people.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I can see quarantines and shit.
I can see vaccine cards.
I'll welcome that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that was really neat, and, like, he kind of predicted the future a little bit. Right? In the way the government reacted to an outbreak. And one thing I love about these Cronenberg movies is he never hides the fact that it's a Canadian film shot in Canada. It's not like Black Christmas or Happy Birthday to Me or those types of Canadian horror movies where they try so hard to make it look like it's in America. Mm-hmm. In this, it's like, no, it's Montreal.
Yeah, it's Canada. It's the back roads there too, and it's winter time, so everybody's chilly. And I love how like just simple and down home this movie feels, and a lot of like Cronenberg movies. Well, there's something a little heartwarming about it because obviously we're Canadian. Kind of takes you back to a simpler time when Canada was just felt a little more simple.
Yeah.
You know, and it's and we kind of lived through a little bit of the simplicity too in the 80s, right? I mean, we grew up in the late 80s, and it sort of felt that way.
Yeah.
And sort of kind of takes you back to that a little bit where...
And this movie definitely has that Canadian look to it.
Yeah.
That some movies don't. Like, just for example, Happy Birthday to Me doesn't have that Canadian look. But this has that Canadian look, but I like it because it feels almost like a documentary. It's shot almost documentary style. So it makes this really outlandish plot of this experimental graft that went wrong, you know, it makes that plot seem more realistic because it's shot very realistic, very humble, down to earth, with realistic acting, with real looking people.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's the thing,
It doesn't look Hollywood, and I think if it looked Hollywood, it'd be less believable.
The actors that they used for this movie feel just normal. Just normal people. And it's also the dialogue that's used in this movie, too. The way it's written. You can relate to it. You can feel, it's like, oh yeah, well, that's kind of how I'd probably react, or these are the kinds of things I would say in a situation like this, right?
I think everything about it's very relatable. The way people react to the situation, the way the government reacts, all that stuff seems very realistic, you know? The camera work in this movie is really good, too. Like, I love that shot on the motorcycle. It just... Because it's early in the movie.
Yeah.
Where they're going down the road and the camera's, like, mounted on the side, so you can see the feet as they're going down the road, and it's
as
like
he's clicking through the gears. And...
I like it's like instantly you kind of know you're seeing something a bit special.
Right.
It's not just your typical shitty Canadian horror movie.
Yeah.
They're putting some extra effort in this one, right? And you get that right off the bat with that cool shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's a lot of cool lighting too in this movie, like a lot of night shots, like in the city, which were probably really difficult to set up. Like you can tell, like there's that one scene where there's that barricade kind of, and the cars have to go around it, and there's the zombies kind of rushing the vehicles and stuff. It's like, fuck, that must have taken forever to set up.
Yeah.
And they, like, you can see where the love is.
Oh yeah, you can see that there's love put in this movie, a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Like in the lighting too, like it's one of those movies that's lit in a way where you're only seeing what the director wants you to see. Mm-hmm. Like certain things are in the shadows for a reason, you know? And that's to build tension because you don't know what's in those shadows.
Exactly, you're not supposed to know.
And all that stuff is done for a reason. It's no fucking fluke that part of the frame is lit and that part is shadow.
Yeah.
It's totally on purpose.
It's a body horror kind of movie, but it's not overly gory. It just uses enough gore to drive the idea home of what's going to happen or what has happened.
Yeah. The goriest thing probably is the woman getting her fingers cut off. Really?
Yeah.
Besides that, you don't see much. Like, it'll often cut before something crazy happens, and then you see, like, for example, the blood in the water.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or, you know?
It's a lot of clever editing used.
Yeah. When the Rabid are attacking that car and they take those jackhammers and put them through the side of the car, like, you don't actually see people being impaled.
Yeah.
But it's implied in a way where it's like, oh, fuck, that's cool. This movie got a lot of negative reviews saying it was too violent, too deadly, too disgusting. It's like, geez, this is nothing compared to some other stuff.
And the movie is paced pretty good, you know? It's like, there's almost never a dull moment in this movie. When the movie starts to quiet down a bit, you're still fed plot. You're still fed something that's going on in the world outside, because there's usually a radio or a TV
in the background.
Yeah,
it fills you in.
Yeah, you can hear, like, there's a news broadcast that's filling in. This so-called disease has been spreading, and you know, and so I really like that. You're never bored.
A man in a diner attacked another man. Piece it together, like, oh, this is getting out.
Even though the main characters in that scene are doing nothing.
Yeah,
they're just waiting at a desk or whatever.
Yeah, they're
you know?
isolated.
Like,
they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And they're not even listening, really, to the radio or TV broadcast.
No.
They're ignoring it, but we're listening as the viewer, you know?
Again, it's very clever. It's done in such a clever way because you're fed snippets from the outside world without having to see them.
And also the way it's paced is kind of neat. It's different than most zombie movies where, like, the first half of the movie is the story of one person. Basically, that's being Rose.
Right.
And then halfway through, when she gets into Montreal, it becomes a larger thing. It kind of becomes a more typical zombie movie where it's like, now the whole city's involved. It's gone viral, right?
Yeah.
So I like how there's two halves. It's Rose's half, it's more about her, and then there's the bigger picture half that closes out the film, right?
Yeah.
Most zombie movies don't do that. It's like, it starts off like in the first 10 minutes, the whole world's overrun, right?
Yeah.
In this case, you see it's more gradual. What also makes it a little different from most zombie type movies is there's like a patient zero in this, and you know who it is. It's Rose. She's different than the other zombies, because the other ones are rabid, right? They're foaming at the mouth, like they're kind of brain dead. They're just zombies. But she is still lucid. She has her moments where she's like going into shock because she needs blood.
Yeah, and she kind of doesn't want to be like that either.
But other than that, she's normal. She goes to the movie theater, you know? But she's the person that started it and keeps spreading it. And she's almost like the queen.
Yeah.
You don't really see that in any zombie movies where there's like a queen. There's a patient zero that's like, that's different than the rest.
Like, I know with zombies you have to shoot them in the head, right? But with this you can just kill them, you shoot them in the chest
There's
or
nothing
whatever,
special,
right?
yeah.
No, so that's kind of a neat little take on them too.
Yeah. So overall, Rabid is just a very smart take on the zombie film.
Yep.
With a lot of commentary on your typical Cronenberg themes.
That's right, yeah. All the stuff that has to do with the body and the mind.
Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, definitely check out Rabid, especially if you're looking for a good Canadian horror flick to watch on Canada Day.
Damn right, yeah.
Because damn it, there are a lot of good Canadian horror films, and I think that's only being discovered in the last 20 years, really, that people are like, oh yeah, there's a lot of good shit that came out of Canada.
There fucking is, yeah.
It's like,
right.
for a long time, these movies had this kind of stigma, and now people are realizing that they're fucking great, you know?
I think it's because there's so much shit coming out nowadays that you gotta start going back, right? Everything's being rediscovered.
Yeah, oh, that wasn't that bad, yeah.
Yeah,
compared to this garbage.
Check out 1977's Rabid. And until next time, keep drinking.